Okay, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We are going to go over the entrepreneur intro. I've muted you all, so if you want to ask questions, feel free to jump in and ask any questions you want. Just hit unmute. If you're on the line and you're not dialed into the desktop and you can't see this, you may want to do that if possible. Otherwise, we will share the deck and the webinar later today. If you're also on the line and you want to unmute yourself, hit *6 to ask a question. Feel free to jump in and interrupt me at any point during this presentation. So first of all, I just wanted to say congratulations to everyone for being selected into the program. There were a lot of applicants, and you have made it to the selection process, and you've been selected. So first of all, really big congratulations to you. It is not easy to get selected, and it will not be easy going forward in the program. But we're going to help you every step of the way. Okay, so has anybody ever used Zoom? And if you have, and you're dialed in, I want you to just use the more button on your participants, and you should see there's a bunch of icons at the bottom of your desktop. You can either hit yes, no, go slow, go faster, or if you hit that more button, it'll give thumbs up or thumbs down, clap, etc. So I see Michael Kerper has said yes. Anybody else? If you, okay, we see some claps there. Good. All right. Excellent. Good. So feel free to do that throughout. You can try typing questions to me, or just interrupt, or just say go slower, or go faster, whatever you feel like. I'm going to clear those icons right now. Okay, great. All right, so let me introduce you to the team. So not everyone's on the line now, but when we're going to go into it in much greater detail, and you'll get to meet us at the kickoff. But just wanted to go over quickly. Here's the team. So a couple of key points here. Lindsay Smith is the person who is our ops person, and you will be in primary contact with Lindsay throughout the program. She is your first go-to person if you have any kind of questions that you pop up in your mind, and you've read the FAQ and you still don't know. Reach out to her first. She's really available. That's her job. We also have Mike Simon as well, who's the lead instructor. So you'll be seeing him throughout the program as well. And this is, by the way, this is Jay Kramer, myself, leading you through this presentation. All right, let's talk about what we are here to talk about today. So we're going to talk about the Startup Studio, and we're going to talk about a little bit of logistics here. Then we're going to talk about the roles of participants and what's next. We're going to do some demos and talk about lessons learned from previous cohorts, and a Q&A. So overview and logistics. So this is how the Startup Studio actually works here at a very high level. First, we select the commercially viable technology. We scan all the different labs that have sponsored the program, and we figure out which ones have the highest likelihood of commercialization. And we interview the inventors, we do diligence, we have expert panels. We really try and figure out which ones could be fertile ground for starting a company. From there, we also are simultaneously building teams of entrepreneurs like yourself to bring into the program, and your job is to hypothesize a business model in which the technology can be formed around, and then validate it. And we're going to talk about how to do that, both of those in much greater detail in the kickoff weekend. And then if everything works out, your team is great, the technology is perfect, the timing of the market is optimal, and you're all in the right spots in your life, and you want to start a company, we'll help you with licensing, company formation, and early stage funding. We funnel our companies through the SBIR program. If you're not familiar with that, it's just a way to get non-dilutive funding to you first through the government. And so it's in 3 phases, and we'll get into all that much more. But essentially, the first phase is anywhere from 75,000 roughly to 150,000, I think, is the first phase, and that's all non-dilutive capital. And different agencies like NASA, DoD, NSF, DOE and the like, they put out problem statements to small businesses and ask for help in solving those. And so that's what the SBIR program is. Phase 2 is up to $1.5 million, and then phase 3 is unlimited funding, all non-dilutive. So we'll talk about that in much greater detail. Don't worry about that right now. Right now, we're going to talk about the details of the program here. So it's 8 weeks from September 28th, roughly, to November 21st is the pitch day. And this is going to be the in-person opening and closing sessions. If you're in the DC area, you're going to be there in person. If not, you're going to be virtually dialed in live at 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. and I'll give you those dates in a minute. Then we're going to do weekly pitches in small groups. So through every week, we're going to go through and you're going to progress your business model, and you're going to, we're going to actually pitch it in small groups. So groups of 3 companies. This is going to be your small group, small learning team, whatever you want to call it. That is really, so, you pitch to the instructor, and the instructor will give you feedback, and also the other teams in that small group will also give feedback, as well as the mentors that have been dialed in as well. Before that, during the weekly pitches, we're going to have weekly lectures. So we're going to do topics ranging from fundraising, IP, business model, customer outreach, things that help you figure out if this technology can solve a real world problem. And once you hypothesize your business model and figure that out, at least on the hypothesis level, the next step is to validate it. And the way we validate it is through customer or /stakeholder interviews. And so the target here is anywhere from 50 to 100. The idea here is we really want to figure out who is your customer and what value can you deliver to them. And the way to do that is not through Google searches. It's really getting out and talking to people and figuring out that's either end users, buyers, experts, analysts, really trying to understand the customer. And we'll talk about why we do that as well on the kickoff. And then we also have a FedTech ecosystem. So you can reach out to us anytime. We'll provide assistance on company formation. We'll have make stakeholder introductions. We have a huge ecosystem filled with really talented people that you should absolutely take advantage of. Okay, next thing, roles of participants. So who's involved in this program? We have, we're going to go over the time commitments first. So the entrepreneurs, that's you, 20 hours per week over 8 weeks. This is going to be very intense. 1 meeting per week. I think we have a break in there as well throughout the 8 weeks. And the break is really just to focus more on your business model validation piece. The next is the mentors. So you're going to have a call with them at least once a week. And their job is to really provide guidance, make introductions as appropriate, and they can potentially, if you want, be on your early board seats or advisory seats, or even be early investors we've seen. And then we have the inventor, and we're going to talk about them in a little bit, but their job is really to facilitate the technical aspect of their technology. So they're usually not doing many or any interviews, but that can vary. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. The first thing we want to talk about is the entrepreneur role. So we've been paired with teams of 2 to 3 entrepreneurs. Almost every team has 3 entrepreneurs. We had a team that came in with a team of 2, and they were set on having them too, so we didn't add a third person to them. But teams of 2 and 3 entrepreneurs is good. We have the 2-day kickoff, which I'll talk about in a little bit, the pitch day, and they're every week during the program. This is really the heart of the team here, the entrepreneurs. They're completely accountable for the success and failure of the team. And you're gonna learn all about lean startup, customer discovery, product development, technology commercialization, and this is going to be experiential learning. So it's certainly not going to be, if you're expecting to do the program and just an online, if you're remote or in person, just lectures as if it's another MBA class, you will be pleasantly surprised that it's not like that. Okay, mentor role. These are the jungle guides here. So these are paired with each team. They usually have a lot of experience. You may have 2 mentors. Most teams will have 2 mentors, a primary and secondary. And the primary is responsible for all those mentor submissions and keeping in contact with you. Most of them will be there during the 2-day kickoff. Their job is to push and challenge your assumptions, and they will open up their network when it's appropriate and mutually beneficial. Do not leverage the mentors solely for making introductions. They are humans, and they don't want to burn any bridges in their network as well. So get to know them, really understand their value, and if it's appropriate, ask them if they know any contact that could help you understand a certain aspect of your business model. And their job is also to submit some biweekly updates on the team progress as well. So that's one of the inputs that we get for understanding how well you're doing during the program. And their jobs are really 3 different types of mentors, and these can shift even within the same person. One is an advisor who's got a lot of experience. Another is a peer you can bounce ideas off of. And then another is an expert with a deep source of knowledge on a particular subject matter. And any questions so far? Am I going too fast, too slow? Feel free to use those icons again if you want, or just shout out at me. Okay, all right, inventor role. So these are the inventors. These are some of the top inventors in the world. And I'm not being superlative here. I mean, these people are sometimes have decades of experience, and they are at the top national labs in the country doing the most advanced science on the planet. So they are extremely good at their technical jobs, and they are paired with the teams, but they primarily stay out of the way when it comes to business model building. That is not their forte. That is not what they're the best at. They're really good at the technical side. And they will be there also during the 2-day kickoff weekend in DC. And then we've budgeted about an hour per week during the program. So they will be available for calls. They'll be available for emails. Some of them have very busy schedules too. So you have to figure out how to contact them, what's the best mode of contacting them, how do they prefer, what time of day, and then you'll be coming back to them with questions that you get from your customer or stakeholder interviews, saying like, oh, we talked to a customer and they would say this would be really interesting if it could be used underwater. And then you go back to your inventors and say, is this technically possible to go on underwater? And they'll say yes, no, or et cetera. So these are really your technical experts. They will learn about a lot of the same things if they want to participate. The inventors give really, really great reviews to this program as well. They've even been able to increase their internal funding. So they actually request funding through their labs, and then they either get approved or denied. And this just gives them more data to help further their technology as well. So we tell them about 1 call per week with the team on their own schedule. We'll try to get them to limit their technical jargon. And we really want them to be open to new uses of their technology. So the 3 levels of involvement. 1 is the most minimal level, and this is just simply a technical consulting. They are available an hour a week and on their own schedule, and they're simply there just to answer questions that you may have. That's a minimum. The second level up is the technical and team support. So it's level 1 plus a little team support. Now, what does that look like? Maybe they want to join some of the team meetings, and you guys are all okay with that as well. Feel free to have them in there, and that'll be more than an hour a week. And that's totally fine because they can give some more advice and guidance there. Or they're level 3. So they want to be involved on the weekly sessions. They want to be in the team meetings. They want to do customer discovery. They want to eventually be potentially a co-founder. All this is hypothetical, of course, but some of these inventors are really motivated to really have the entrepreneurial bug as well. I would say the vast majority are between number 1 and 2. But we certainly have some that are number 3 too. And you have to find this out by talking to them, understanding their motivations. And we accept inventors in all 3 of these buckets. If we only accepted ones in level 3, we would have a much smaller set of technology to choose from. And if you don't have the technical people on your team right now, that is totally fine. You absolutely do not need the technical people for this part of your journey. Now, if you decide you want to form a company and you want to continue and you want to do more manufacturing and production of your technology and further development of it, I think at that point you probably want to get someone who fits those technical chops. But for this program, I want to make it very, very clear, you do not need a PhD in your specific vertical to do business model validation and hypothesis. I just really, really want to make that clear because frankly, there's not that many quantum physicists out there, you know, that see this program and apply to this program, and that's okay. We do have several PhDs in the program, but not every team is going to have one. Not every PhD is going to line up specifically to their technology. That's totally fine for this point. Okay. All right. Next thing. What is next? So we have a welcome meet and greet. This is completely optional. This is for anyone who's in the area the night before the kickoff on Friday, September 27th. This is going to be at the Lion Hall restaurant. We're going to share with you all these details as well in the logistics. Clarendon is by the way, is a metro stop in Arlington, Virginia, which is really close to the actual. It's one metro stop away from Ballston, which is where the kickoff is going to be. Brings me to my next slide, which is this is the opening session. This is a photo from last year or earlier this spring where we had our opening session. Amazon Web Services headquarters is in Ballston, Virginia, and we're going to be on the 13th floor there. They have a really nice space that's perfect for our needs, and we'll meet there. Now, what are we going to be doing at a high level? And we'll get you the agenda after this next week. As more specifically, but we're going to be doing team building, lean startup, and workshops all day Saturday. It's going to be a full day. And then we have some networking at our offices, which are walking distance from the Amazon Web Services building. And then Sunday, the following day, we've got really focusing on the key skills you're going to need for the program. And that's all day as well. We'll get you out by 4 p.m. So I hope you've all made travel arrangements, but if you haven't, 4 p.m. is the time that we promised to get you out there by. Okay, other in-person meetings. So these are those weekly pitch sessions. We have 5 of these scheduled, and not including the final pitch day. And these weekly sessions will again go over those lectures and the small breakout groups. And you can see on the right, this is a photo as well from a previous cohort. This is at American University incubator space, perfect size for what we need with small breakout rooms. And you will be dialing in virtually if you're not there in person, if you're not in DC region. Okay, pitch day. This is an actual photo from one of our pitch days. This is we don't have a final location, and the date is still up in the air. We're still trying to nail this down. We've got a couple places in mind. Just selecting the best one is our next step there. And this is where we're going to have, we have, by the way, we have 9 teams. I forgot to mention, we have 9 teams going through the program, as you can imagine from your tech selection. And we won't have time, we probably won't have time to have all 9 teams present as well. So we'll talk about who's going to present there, but we're all going to do a demo day as well. So your inventors will most likely be there. Some of them won't be there for the pitch day, but most of them will be. And they're just going to have a lot of people from the community. So investors, entrepreneurs, government officials, a lot of really, really diverse network in DC that's going to come out and support you. Okay, let's talk about the timeline. Any questions so far? Feel free to jump in at any time. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about the timeline here. So the team formation. So we are going to send out the teams right after this, and we have already put them together. The mentors will be compiled and sent out tomorrow. So you'll get the assignment of the mentors as well. After this, we'll have this pre-kickoff webinar next week on September 25th at 1 p.m. Eastern. We'll have that recorded, and that's going to be everybody on the line, so entrepreneurs, mentors, and inventors. After that, well, actually, once your teams are formed, once you see them later today, the first thing you should do is all get on a call. together with your team to do introductions, just understand where you all are coming from, your backgrounds, what your goals are, and that's going to be your entrepreneur team call. After that, we say by Wednesday, but this is really means schedule as soon as possible. And we just have an assignment for you, which is just to say, check the box and say, we've had this call already. But this is just to have it complete by Wednesday. And then after that, after you have a call, you should have a call with your mentor as well, or your mentors, and let them and understand where they're coming from, do introductions there. And then you're all going to get on a call and meet with your inventor. You should be ready for this inventor call, have done research on the technology, and really understand. We'll help you through that, and we've got some guardrails there in our learning management system for you to understand a little bit more about the technology and what questions to ask. And that's all going to happen before Wednesday. So you've all met each other. When you go to the kickoff weekend, you've gotten that base of team formation at least. And then we have some pre-kickoff assignments, and this is going to be just a checklist of some admin stuff we have you do. We have some videos for you to watch. We have team submissions, and this is important to know that not everybody has to submit things when it says team submission. Just one person has to submit, and then we'll go and check that out. And those are really understanding some of the assignments and things you have to get done beforehand. It's not very hard work, but it's really going to help you all get ready for the big kickoff weekend on 28th and 29th. Okay, let's do some demos unless we have any questions. So the first demo that we are going to do is about Schoology. Lito, do you have a question?
Yeah, hey, morning, man. I mentioned in the chat room, how long do we have to pitch at the culmination of this of Startup Studio?
Oh, during the pitch day? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, yes.
So we usually do anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes. It's not long, and traditionally what we've done is we've had it's generally a few hours. The first part of that evening is really just open demo day, where we have poster boards printed out for you guys, and if you've been to a conference, this is similar to what it is but it's just for you and all the teams. And so people will come around, they'll talk to you about what you've worked on, key findings, next steps, etc. And then we'll have a formal part of the evening where the second half will be a pitch competition, where we'll pick the top several teams, and in terms of their progress throughout the program and their likelihood of success, and some other factors there as well, which we'll get to. Nothing for you guys to worry about right now. We just unfortunately don't have time to do 9 different pitches. And then we'll have some live audience voting as well, to pick the best teams, and then some prize after that. So yeah, so that's the pitch day. All right. So
one last question. Sorry,
sure.
Probably working backwards here. In terms of mentors, is there like a matching timeline, or like the inaugural things coming up next week, 10 days from now? Are we matching mentors there, or would those just be assigned to us based on best fit, I guess?
Yeah, assigned to you based on best fit and their preference as well. So they've gotten the same information as you. They've taken a look at the technology, and we're going to pair based on that. And this is again, we're assigning these mentors for the 8 weeks. But this is not saying these are the people you have to stick with if you're forming a company. And this is really an exploratory program. And we'll get into some of those lessons learned at the end of this presentation. Yep. All right, let's go to the Schoology demo. So has anybody used Schoology by any chance? Anyone? Nope. Okay. All right. Well, Schoology is like a learning management system. It is similar to a Blackboard or Canvas, and we found this has the best functionality and use for us. And so we're going to give you a login. You're basically going to log in. You're going to see this. This is your front dashboard here. You can play around with this as much as you want. We have some updates and activities. We have a course dashboard here showing the different courses you're involved. You won't be seeing this one. And then you'll see the assignments over here. You'll see upcoming ones here. And then you'll have, and then we also have things like a calendar. So you can sync this one way to your personal calendar, where it'll just populate on your personal calendar all these assignments and deadlines and things like that, and activities, so you can see. So really important to do that, and we'll show you how as well. We also have notifications here saying you've been added to a group, or we're requesting something, and so you can do that from your notifications. But going back to the home, you can get to, we'll go into the courses a little bit here. So you can either go to courses here, or you can just simply click on course dashboard and then go to your Startup Studio modules here. So I am being Anna FedTech, and this is obviously a made-up person, but this is just a purpose. The purpose is to show you what this is like. So as you can see here, orienting you, we have on the left different kinds of things, like what, if you want to make some updates to the group, if this is a way to communicate. We also have grades, so all the things that are due and how you submitted them will all show up here. We have different members in the group as well, you can see and contact. But going back to materials, this is really where I want you all to focus. The first thing is the onboarding. Here we have some course overviews, just some things to read first and read through some of these details. And then we also have, you can either click into it or just hit that menu. We've got a checklist here, and I won't be able to, actually I will be able to see it here. And this is really just pretty simple administrative stuff, like, please have you opened and read the course overview in the onboarding folder. And there's several questions like that as well, but I don't really want to go down that rabbit hole now. Just if you complete, your job is just to complete these. These three are individual. This one where it says team submission is team submission. Lean startup lesson. So this is just a quiz of watching some videos to get you all accustomed to what is the lean startup method, so you can arrive there with some baseline knowledge, because we don't want to spend time going over the extreme basics with you. We want to hit the ground running here. So these are just very simple questions where you can go through. Looking at the team submission spot here, and you'll have time to look into all of this as well. This is what I was talking about. To prepare for your inventor interview, you really want to divide these questions up or do them all together, but really create a document, pick a potential use case for your technology. Number one, it says research potential competitors. The next one is talking about where is the expert, who are the experts in the field, what's the latest technological advancement related to that use case, where's the money flowing into the industry, what investments are being made. And then one person from each team is going to hit submit assignment and upload a Google Doc or a Word document, anything really to just to submit here, and then we'll see that you all submitted that. So that is for the team submission there. And then we also have interview contacts, and this is where I'm going to show you what HubSpot CRM is, which is a customer relationship management tool, and you're just going to update the export from there. And I'll show you how to do that in a second. Now, that is the onboarding, and we also have the course resources. So this is going to be the team groupings and contact information. Once we finalize that, which will be today, you'll get notified that you can log in. You can see under course resources the team groupings and contact information. This is going to be a view-only Google Sheets, so you'll be able to see all of the teams there. And we'll update it with the mentors by tomorrow as well. Any questions on Schoology? Okay, let's move on to CRM. So HubSpot CRM. Has anybody used HubSpot CRM by any chance? Okay, Prince has used it. Okay.
This is Mehul. I use it too.
Oh, great. Okay, great. Thanks, Mehul. Okay, good. All right, some have used it, some have not. All right, so I'm just going to go through it, and I just wanted to share with everybody, and you can explore this much more on your own, but the point of this is to really maintain a list of customers, stakeholders that you want to interview. This is most popular with sales. So understanding who you want to target for your sales, where they are in the stage of pipeline. So have you reached out to them? Have they responded? Have you sent a proposal? Have you closed the deal? And really just a visual understanding of where each contact is in the process. And we are not going to be using this for sales. We're going to be using this for something that we call the customer stakeholder interviews. And we're going to talk a lot more about that. You're going to read the videos. You're going to understand why we do that. But the point of it is not to sell. It is to understand your customer needs. Because you'll hear this again, the number one reason startups fail is because there's no market need. And the reason that there's no market need for some of these companies is the ones that fail is because they haven't done proper diligence and understanding of their customer. So we are flipping that on its head. Instead of building the product first, we are going to understand the customer first and then build the product according to their needs. That's the whole premise around Lean Startup, or one of the premises, I should say. So once you create your HubSpot account, this is the dashboard you'll see here. The first thing you want to do is go to your sales pipeline. You will click on deals, and this will get you to your pipeline here. And you can think of the first people that you put in here are going to be your targets. The next are going to be, if you email them, this is, you can just move them right into contacted. Okay, I've contacted them, now waiting a response. They've responded. Okay, John Doe responded to my email or phone call, and now I'm going to set up a meeting with him, have the meeting, and now it's complete. And then you can also put in ones like dormant, they haven't responded, or lost, they said they don't want to talk to you. This is not how it's going to show up when you first log in. So what you want to do is hit actions and hit edit deal stages. And this will allow you to change this up however you want. It's set up for traditional sales pipeline, but I've changed this to be more customer discovery, stakeholder discovery interviews. So this is what I prefer, but if you want to change this up, feel free to completely change this. And this is win probability, just putting in percentage there. What's the likelihood of you getting an interview, which again, those interviews help you validate your business model. This is just setting the stage here for what we're going to talk about later if you're really confused right now. The only thing you really need to figure out is who can you talk to that you want to learn more information about the customer. So your targets is really who you want to populate here. So if your technology is the automotive driving technology from the Department of Transportation, you probably want to have some targets in probably Tesla, right? You want to figure out who in Tesla can I talk to, help me understand where we're going, what problems there are in automotive driving today that this technology could potentially solve. And so we want to just populate this with a list of different people, and we're just populating at this point. So LinkedIn is really helpful for this. You can create a deal from here, or I prefer if you want to actually add a contact in here, you go to contacts, you can add in. So I added in Elon Musk here, and you want to do, and this is not his email here, but I just put that in there. So you want to put in their name, email, what company they're at. You can log different notes. So as you have your calls with them, understanding the insights from those calls is really important. And what are some other tasks you have for you or your team. And then you can also add them to a deal. And I've already added them to a deal here, and you can see the target stage here. Or if you even move them here to contact them, it'll show up there. So going back to the deals here, so what we want to try to do is populate this target list with at least 10 potential people you plan on talking to, and then what you can do is to export it. You just want to hit options and then export, and then from there it'll come in a file format of Excel, CSV, or XLSX, and then you want to include all the properties, which show all the notes, all of the contact information. This is, again, just a way so we can see where you are and who you've thought about targeting. And don't worry about reaching out to them yet, but you just want to target them, and then you can upload that in your interview contact submission there. So that is that, and only one person has to do that. So any questions on that? I went through it kind of fast. No? Okay, moving on here. We are at the next phase, which is the lessons learned here. Okay, so this is, these are lessons from previous cohorts. So your expectations here, so this is what you can, we expect from you, is to attend all sessions and be prepared each week, including the kickoff weekend and pitch day. We have a target number of interviews for you each week. If you don't hit those, we will ask that you do not waste everybody else's time. And if you don't hit your targets, then we'll just ask you to really talk about what can you do going forward to make sure you hit your targets and progress your business model along, because there are other teams will be hitting their targets, and we don't want to waste time with you presenting if you haven't hit those targets. So we just this is a way just to keep everybody accountable. This is an intense program. We've had to remove certain people in the past who have not kept up, and this just may not be the right time for you in your life if you realize just how intense this is. But again, the idea here is we need to rapidly validate the business model in order to quickly determine if there's a company to be started or not. And this is just a commitment we need up front, and that's our expectations here. Okay, the next thing is complete all the assignments on time, including the closeout deliverables, which will be a presentation to the actual lab and giving those lessons learned back to the lab. And we'll talk a lot about that, but it's essentially you're gonna have a call with the lab personnel, the inventors, and say, here's what we learned about the technology, and this really helps them with understanding their funding. And just as a reminder, the reason you don't pay for this or don't give up any equity is only because of the sponsorship from the actual labs. So this is a way that we give back to them and give those lessons learned. This is why they do the program, is to have those closeout deliverables and potentially have their technology commercialized. So really, really important. We expect you to conduct yourself as an ambassador to FedTech and your research partner. Integrity is we have a zero strike, one strike rule here is if you have any kind of integrity violation, being dishonest in any way, you'll be asked to be removed from the program, because you do represent us and the research partner as well. So next thing, any issues about teams, tech, the inventor, mentor, instructors, escalate to us immediately. We do not want problems that linger around, do not get better over time. So any kind of issue at all, escalate to us. We've likely seen it all before. We can't help if we don't know about it. So make sure if somebody on your team is not delivering, is not doing well, and you've tried to interject and try to talk to them, and they're just not pulling their weight, reach out to us. We've got some really experienced people in team building and understanding team dynamics can help you do that. And then worst case scenario, we'll have them removed from the team and bring in somebody. We have a very long waiting list too. I don't want to scare anyone, but we have a waiting list of people that we just could not get into the program for this time because there's just limited spots available. And so they're waiting to jump in at any time. Don't look at that as a threat. It's just a fact that we can only We only tolerate the A players here, and you should too. And on that note, have fun. This is a really, really fun process. You're going to meet a lot of people. You're going to be really uncomfortable, out of your comfort zone. And this should be a really, really fun process. So, yeah, so that's the lessons learned. Sorry, no, that's your expectations. The lessons learned from previous entrepreneurs. These are just some tips for you to help you think through this process and go through something like this. The first thing is really to trust the process, okay? This may not be familiar to you at all. This may be completely alien language to you. The methods we use may be extremely non-standard if you're not familiar with this, but they are proven to be effective. So just really dive in, trust the process. After 8 weeks, if you want to go back and do something differently, by all means, go for that. But just for these 8 weeks, trust the process that we give you. Acknowledge that this will be uncomfortable. Then just jump right in. Just expect to be really, really uncomfortable and challenged. And once you have that mindset of, I'm just going to go with this, I'm going to do things that I've never done before, just jump in. I promise the water is going to be a lot warmer once you've been swimming around in it for a little while. Inventors and mentors do not work for you, and you do not work for them. So we've had some mentors in the past that want to completely control the team and tell them exactly what to do. Just remember that you are all volunteers in this program, and you don't work for them, and they don't work for you. So be really, really cautious about how you interact, and be mindful that these are humans and not your, not your underlings, and you can't boss them around. So cross-functional leadership is the name of the game here. So explore different use cases. So I would say more than 50% of the time, what the inventor thinks is the end use case for their technology, it actually turns out to be more valuable in another industry or field. So explore those. I mean, some of these technologies are very, very specific. Some are a lot more wide open, and then others are in the middle. And you have to figure out, where is my technology the most useful for solving a problem or solving a customer need. So even if your mentor or inventor tells you to focus on a specific use case, voice your opinion, explore different options, narrow them down, and go with one or two by the end of the program, I should say, not in the first week. Okay, so we are not mandating that you start a company with anyone. This is a completely exploratory program. You have not signed any company formation documents. This is more of a disclaimer because we've had people who've been confused in the past. We are not mandating that you start a company with the inventors, even your people you're paired up with. So this is an exploratory program. The only time that you should be exploring company formation is if everybody agrees on it, who wants to be involved. That's it, or at least may not even have to form a company, but just continue on the process after the program to continue exploring your business model and potentially licensing. And we have about a third of the companies that go through the program start companies. Just to share some numbers with you. And don't wait to populate your stakeholder customer interview list. You should be doing this immediately. And really understand that because you have 10 people on your target list, you may get an interview with one of them, and that interview may not come for 2 weeks because they're out of the country. And so if you wait to reach out to people, you will not get enough scheduled each week, and you won't hit your target interviews. If you can't hit your target interviews, then you can't really understand the business model which you've hypothesized. And if you can't understand that, then you're really far behind everybody else. Okay, so set up calls with mentors, inventors, and plus mentors as soon as possible. So it should be, again, your first call with the entrepreneurs, then the entrepreneurs and mentors, and then the entrepreneurs, mentors, and inventors. Doodle.com is really handy. If you haven't used it, I highly recommend it. It's just to figure out when good times are for everyone versus going back and forth over emails. Really helpful there. So I will stop talking and ask question or open it up for any kind of questions you have. Remember, hit *6 if you're only on your phone to chime in. So any questions so far?
Hey, this is Prince here. I have a question about
Hey, Prince.
the licensing of the technology.
Yeah.
Like, given we go through the course and then, we're ready to start the business. How does the licensing with the technology work?
Yeah, good question. And we try and delay this as much as possible because we don't want everyone to get, I guess, bogged down in thinking about these technical questions and putting the cart before the horse. But I will tell you on a high level, each lab will negotiate the technology very differently. But there is a mandate. You can look this up, the Bayh-Dole Act of 1980, which basically says the U.S. government has to license technology out to the public, and they should have it's a mandate actually from the labs to do this. The reason is because the U.S. government invests over $150 billion every year in research and development. And so they want to see some kind of return, even though they're not a revenue engine. They want to see some kind of return on that investment, and it shouldn't just go for government purposes. So that is a mandate from them, and it will cost a few thousand to get that license, depending on your deal, of course, and depending on each lab. So I really can't get into specifics there, but that process is. We have, and you'll see this on the contact list, you'll have the entrepreneurs and their contact information, the mentors, the inventors, and then you'll have something called the lab tech transfer. And the tech or technology transfer office their job is to facilitate the movement of technology from the labs to commercial entities that want to use the technology and license that. So how it will start is you'll understand, you'll get to know these tech transfer people, and you'll know them throughout the whole process, and their job is literally just to help license the technology. So they will walk you through everything. They will also be the person at the other end of the table negotiating a licensing deal as well. But their job is to license technology. So they don't get any benefit from not doing that. So everyone is really motivated to license the technology. You discuss with them basically what the terms of your licensing deal are, what is your plan for commercialization, how you intend to get there, what are the right pieces in place. Some labs have templates to fill out, but the idea is you have to convince them that you are the right people to take it forward, and you have a plan to do so. You can't just walk up and say, I want to license technology. My name is John Doe, and please hand it over. So because it's an admin and legwork on their side as well, and especially if you license an exclusive deal versus a non-exclusive, meaning other people can license it for similar or different purposes, depending on the license. But I don't want to get into that too detailed. That answer your question, I don't know.
Yeah, that definitely does. And just I have one more part to that is that
sure.
What is do we have a competitive advantage compared to, as you mentioned, like John Doe off the street, like because of this program? Yeah, do we just have a competitive advantage on the licensing agreement?
That's a good question. I can't answer that directly. I will say that anytime there's a deal that needs to happen, humans are generally more apt to do with people that they know and trust. That you can take with that however you wanted to, but if you make good impressions with tech transfer versus someone they don't know with similar capabilities, I think they would view that slightly differently, but I can't make any guarantees, unfortunately.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Renway, did you have a question?
I did not.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I just see you off of mute there. Anybody else have any questions? No. Okay. Well, in that case, we're going to send out the Schoology login info, and within that you'll see those teams, and then you'll see your assignments, and we'll get started. So any other questions, feel free to reach out to Lindsay if you have a question, or myself, or just CC a bunch of us, and we'll be good to go and answer your questions. So thanks so much, everyone. Really excited to have you join us, and really excited to get started. This is looking like a really promising cohort. The technology is fantastic. The people are great, and this is going to be a lot of fun. So thanks, everyone, and I will talk to you soon.